Hello, everybody. This is Nicholas Tanek with your kinky friends, and oh my God, she's back, and I'm so thankful she's back. The amazing, everybody should bow down and really, you know what? Learn from her. We were talking about learning um, together, but please,
Mm.
before we do anything, before we talk at all, please welcome the magnificent Anna Valentino. Say hi.
Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday to you, wherever you are. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very excited. Nick, you are a great interviewer, and I always have such a good time. So I'm looking forward to what's going to happen today.
Well, thank you very much. That really means the world to
Oh,
me.
thank you.
So we were talking before offline. We were talking about like in your bio, you were writing on you wrote a very nice thing
Mm.
about how you're always learning, and you are an
Yes.
educator, but
Yes. Yes, I am.
you are always learning. And in the kink community, and once again, my name is Nicholas Tanek. This is your kinky friends. But all right, with that being said, in the kink community, we're always learning. So please
Mhm.
expand on that. Tell us more.
Well, okay. So I'll start at the top. Um, I first I first entered the pro BDSM world in earnest in 2000, and I had done a few sessions before that, and I'd been playing in my private life for a while. Um, as much as one can when you're a teenager and kind of fiddling along basically. Um, but when I started at my first dungeon, the one that would become my training dungeon, basically, I was suddenly immersed in this atmosphere, this environment of all these people, all these women who knew so much more than I did, and that was kind of my first experience with finding out how much I didn't know. Um, that was real life exposure to um, translating not only what I had in my head, but opening my eyes to all these possibilities, all the myriad things that you could do and that could happen um, in kink. And I was blown away. I was fascinated. I was quickly humbled. You come in
Yeah,
thinking that you know a few things, and then you
yeah,
get around people who really know some stuff, and it's like, oh, okay. Um, and that was good. I mean, because over the next 23 years, um, I and the learning never ends. So there's always something to be interested in. What I've done in my career has been, hello, Stan, has been to sort of, as I get comfortable, move into new areas, new specialties, new understandings, always at my pace. So I never felt like I was overextending myself, which is important. Um, but now I'm at this point where I have this whole body of knowledge, and when somebody asks me to speak on a particular thing, a specific topic, I go, oh, okay, let me sit down and like sift through all the things I know. It's quite something. But I'm also standing at I feel like I'm standing at the edge of or on the side of this huge field, like so vast that I can't even see the other side. It just stretches out in front of me, and that's kink. That is human
yeah,
sexuality in general, but kink in particular. However much you think you know, there's always something new out there. There's something that you'll find out, or just new ways of doing things too. Um, every I remember the first time years back, I learned about balloon fetish, and I actually did a movie of balloon fetish back in the day. I think it was
you
like,
did a balloon fetish movie.
I did a balloon fetish movie, and at the climax, if you will, of my scene, I held a needle in between my front teeth and made out with a balloon until it popped.
Wow.
It was fun. I was like sensually like, come here, balloon, and I kissed it and looked at you, and then I held the needle and it pop, and the whole thing popped in my face, and I went.
Was it a helium balloon, or was it blown up
It
by
was just a
regular?
regular balloon.
What color was the balloon? What's the symbolism of the balloon?
I know,
I
right?
overanalyze everything.
I know. I think it was a light blue, if I remember correctly. And it's, so are balloons are tension personified. You blow and you blow and you blow, and it stretches. This membrane stretches over all of this air, and it just and it gets to this crucial point, this critical mass, and you just don't know how much more it's going to take. And you start to kind of guess, and it's all this tension built up, and then it crosses that finish line, and it pops, and all the tension is released, and it explodes. And you can see the metaphor here.
Oh yes, definitely.
So yeah, it's humans are so creative. It is the human sexuality drive, the creativity and the intelligence that we bring to sex is unique to us as animals, as living beings. We can eroticize literally anything. And I've been given to understand that Marquis de Sade said that in order to understand something first, we must eroticize it, or that is one way to understand it. It's like a backdoor to the subconscious. So when we eroticize things, and frequently these kinks, these fetishes, these attachments can be traced back to some kind of unexplored root. Things that I say this all the time. If we did not have the stigma and the shame around sex that we do in society, there would be and should be role play salons in every strip mall. Because just because we
Right.
get
There should be
older,
role play salons in every strip mall.
I know that's what I'm calling for, is role play salons across the country. That's my platform I'm going to run on. But it is just because we get older doesn't mean that we lose that necessity for play. We need to play, and usually it's channeled into things like sports, arts, whatever. But when do we actually get to let our sexual imaginations out? And that is, I mean, that's a crucial part of being a human being, is
Without
to
a doubt.
have.
I'm a happier person. I'm a happier person. I can deal with things in life, just regular everyday life, because I feel grounded in sexuality. I feel
Absolutely.
comfortable in my own sexuality, and I feel comfortable around other people who feel that way also. And I feel
Mhm.
like like my contribution to society is being a well-rounded person. you know,
It is. That's absolutely the way it is. Yeah.
is not being
Um,
not being an asshole. And but the thing is that it's amazing on how sexuality and embracing kink and embracing role play itself is not only therapeutic, but has it for me it's opened my mind to other
mhm.
things, to other people, to tolerating other people.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, very much so. Yeah. Yeah. That, you know,
Oh, Nico Noir says, Mistress, you're so right. Kink is a constant evolution of one's sexuality, and that there are no rules, and that there are no wrong
mhm.
answers. Well said, Nico Noir.
It's true. It's true. Years back, I found this gay fetish photographer who he had taken all these pictures, like he would hire a hustler, and then he'd take pictures of them and so on. And he said something that was very interesting. He said, "There's no such thing as a fetish community, because fetish is what we do. Fetish is our personal thing." And so we talk about fetish community and so on, and what we mean by that is community of people who
Of
engage
course.
in fetish and kink and so on. But that was a really salient point. No one has the right to dictate to you how you express your fetishes and your kinks. If you go to a fetish party, there a lot of times there's kind of this, especially when you're newer, there's kind of this sensation of people watching you and judging you and that kind of thing. And I'm here to say, fuck them. Just fuck them.
Fuck them.
There's there's nobody
Yeah, that
on
world's
this
fucked.
earth who can say that you're right or wrong for having this kink or how you express it or something like that, um, and everybody's got their different style, etc. And yeah, you can't put somebody else down because they're into this or that, or you know everybody has their thing, and we are here for that personal expression. That's what it's about. So fuck 'em.
I haven't gotten to the very first question that I ask everybody.
Ah,
What's inspiring you these days?
ooh, that's a great question.
Thank you.
Uh,
I'm proud of that question.
it is a great question. I would say, honestly, going back to my roots, kind of, you know, I think my bio reflects this too. When I was writing my bio, I was thinking, what the hell am I going to say about myself? What do I narrow this down to? Um, and what I wrote was really what it came down to was I feel new again. I feel
Yes.
young again. I
Mhm.
feel fresh, and I feel um, like all the things I've learned are now in my library. They're in my repertoire, but the perspective that I bring now is one of playfulness, of exploration. I mean, I've always had that, but this is my focus now. My focus now is to it's like I've learned this language. I've learned the language of kink and fetish and deep expression. And now I can play with that. And if you're writing a language and you become familiar with it, then you can write poetry, you can write essays, you can write novels, you can write whatever is true to your form. And for me, I feel more liberated than ever, honestly. I feel more, um,
I could sense that.
yeah,
Seriously, I could. And when I was talking to you last week,
yeah,
and I could
yeah.
just sense that in you. Because we've talked before, friends,
Mhm.
and I can sense that in you, and that's awesome to see. Tell you the truth, it's
Thank you.
wonderful to see that in you.
I feel really happy about it, actually, because not only for myself but also for people who are getting into kink. Um, I I've spent 23 years in the pro scene and add on a few more for lifestyle. But I feel more energized than ever now, and I want people to know that there really is no end to the learning and to the exploration. You can be in it for decades
Yes.
and I feel like a kid again. I feel like, ooh, I'm gonna explore some
So
things and so
let's
on.
let's talk about that real quick
Yeah,
because
okay.
I always say, and I've asked you this before, and it always depends on when you ask it.
Mm.
The kink rabbit hole goes deep. You never, and I'm into things that I never thought I'd be into before. So
Yes.
what's piquing your interest these days? What's something that you don't have much experience with, but you're kind of interested in it?
Ah, boy.
And it doesn't mean that 5 years from now you're going to be the be all end all, be like, spokesperson for that kink, but just something that like right now at this moment in your life, oh, this looks interesting.
Extreme bondage.
Extreme bondage. Give an example.
Extreme bondage. Okay, so I have this dream that I'm working towards, and I have a couple of willing victims, subjects
Oh,
too.
nice. This is getting good.
I want to do a live burial.
A live burial.
Yes, I want to build okay, so ideally, um, I want to build like a Snow White plexiglass coffin, put it into the
Snow White
ground, you
plexiglass
know,
coffin.
like a couple of feet, not like I'm not going to dig 6 feet for this.
Yeah, 6 feet, and that's a lot of work. 6 feet is a lot of work to dig. You ever dig a grave?
Yeah, yeah. If somebody wants to come over
You
with
need
them, make
exercise.
that's fine. I can do that, but I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, um, alternatively, to actually just build kind of like a flower bed, but just build up the dirt around it, but I want somebody to be encased where where they can see the dirt gradually falling on them,
Wow,
shovelful.
seeing the dirt fall on top. Yeah, I could
Yes,
see that.
shovelful after shovelful, and of course, I'll save the face for last because I want to see their face as it starts to really sink in. those last few bits of dirt when it starts to go dark over their face and the
Mhm.
reality starts to set in. Mm, mm.
Now, when I was young, I used to do weird stuff, like make my homemade straight jackets and stuff like that, and I'd write stories where the protagonist, which is me, the narrator, would be not buried alive, but like locked somewhere
Mhm.
in a box somewhere, or yeah, I guess kind of buried alive, stuff like that. Now, a lot of this stuff dealt with like being tied up and then buried alive, or in a
Yes.
straitjacket and then
Yeah.
buried alive, gagged or blindfolded. So your person that you're burying alive consensually, role play wise, I have to say that okay. We're burying someone alive. What do we put in there to torture them?
Oh, I've got a few. Okay, so and I've discussed this with engineer friends to how to do it safely for to reinforce the box so that it won't collapse under the weight of the dirt. How to ensure airflow so I don't actually kill the person.
Yeah, you don't want to
So
kill the person.
yeah, so we would have an air vent over their face and another over their crotch, basically. So we have like an airflow with fans going, and so I can
We have to
monitor
have
them.
airflow over the crotch, just for sure.
Yeah, 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 and and some little cameras put down in there so I can monitor them and that kind of thing, and enjoy their predicament. But then I
You could
was like,
live broadcast.
yeah,
Be the first live
yeah,
burial, buried
ooh,
alive.
ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna just write that
We
down.
could, your kinky friends, we can comment on it, ask him how he's feeling.
We'll take user suggestions.
And if he's gagged, I'll just go. He has to type in MF.
You better watch out, Nick. You might be in it. But, I
Oh, we
was
got a
like, okay,
show.
when I get them in the box, I'm going to take like little rubbers, like a rubber scorpion, and tie it to a string and like dangle it down, dangle it down the face hole and
Now,
things like that.
do you ever have that, not need, but that kind of desire to know what that feels like, to be on the other end of that, to be the one buried, or
Ah,
just let's say be the one confined, be the one in extreme bondage?
you know, I'm glad you asked that. That's interesting because one of the things that I'm experiencing more now is that curiosity.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was training, I experienced all kinds of things. I did the whole. I actually did some heavy sub work when I was training. Uh, oh, right, yeah,
Yeah,
the
buried.
buried. Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
Yeah,
buried.
and also that scene in
Thanks,
Pulp,
Dan.
not Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, when Uma Thurman is
Yes, Kill
buried alive
Bill is
and she
buried
has to
alive.
punch her way out. Oh, those are harrowing scenes. um,
So you're
yeah,
talking about curiosity.
yeah. I have a curiosity to experience the extremes of myself and of existence. Um, and I've done things like travel and whatever. But I don't want to go to my grave. I'm going to put myself in a fake grave, but I don't want to go to my grave not having pushed myself as hard as I can.
I feel the
So
same way.
yeah, that would be really interesting. I have kind of a little story about that.
Oh, please.
So I used to model for Gwen Media. If anybody doesn't know what Gwen Media is, they do heavy rubber bondage, very glamorous, high fashion, late or not high fashion, but like high end production values, high quality latex, immersive bondage, beautiful women, all that. So when I started modeling for them, um, I was still training, I think. Yeah, that probably was, I think it was when I was still in my training days. So I was bottoming. I did one movie where I was topping for them, but at first I was bottoming. And when I went for my first shoot, I had never been in serious bondage before. So I get there and Bob, the owner, he's like, okay, you're gonna wear this. And he hands me this like this hood with a little tiny mouth hole, and it's like a loose hood, and it zips up the back. And so when I breathe out, it kind of balloons out, and when I breathe in, it sucks against my face. And I
Mm.
was like, okay. And I think I lasted like 20 seconds in or something. I was like, get it off, get it off. And he's like, okay, you don't have to do it. So that was my first. I'd never worn a hood before, and this was suddenly like a breath play hood, and I was like, okay, yeah, no. And then I said, okay, well, I can wear it if I have a clear breathing tube. Like if you put a mouth tube in, then I'll be okay. Over the next like 4 shoots that I did with them, I went from like I can't wear a hood to I was Jacqueline Dumond was the top, and she put me in an inflatable sleep sack, like a full, like I was in rubber and blah blah blah, and then she put me into this inflatable sleep sack with just like a little tiny hole for me to breathe through, and the whole thing of course inflates, and I'm trapped and I can't see anything, I can't do anything, I can't even move. And after we wrapped, she was like, I could hear you snoring in there.
Yeah, you never know how deep the rabbit hole goes and how like things become normal.
Yeah, I went from like, oh no, I can't do this, to like, oh, this is relaxing.
Yeah, it's funny. Seriously, it's funny. There was a time in my life where, because I'm in the femdom and I like cross dressing and stuff like that, and there's time in my life where just having one pair of panties at all was the main thing. Now having one pair of boxers is just it's like, it's in other words, seeing like having panties or something like that, or seeing rope, or seeing paddles, or just. And now the older you get, like you hear it all. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
you're always curious to wonder what's next, which is
yeah.
okay.
I
We have a question. Siddharth says, "Dear Mistress and Nicholas, is it too late for me? My time here. Request a question. Does Mistress enjoy leather or latex more?"
Ooh, okay. So I've always loved shiny and tight fabrics and textiles. I would say I'm more of a rubberist now.
More of a
Um,
rubberist. Okay.
yeah. I when I was young, I didn't have access to rubber. Now you can, I'm rubber all the way through. But I like to say that my leather side is my primal, like classic leather I'm going to chase you down in the woods and tackle you, and
Yeah.
I'm the hunter.
Chase you
I'm
down in
the
the woods.
I'm the primal predator.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what leather matches for me is, it's tough, it's animal skin, it smells good. Latex is my future sex, techno, like bizarre, inflatable, waterproof.
Yeah.
That's that. Yeah. So the two are different atmospheres and expressions for me. It's kind of tough for me to pick, honestly, because it just depends on mood. But I've invested quite a bit in rubber at this point, and if I had to choose between if I had to choose between leather and latex to wear to an event or something, I probably would skew towards latex. There's a lot of color possibilities too in latex it holds pigment like leather doesn't, and I love the shocking brightness that you can get with latex.
That is
So,
cool. Yeah, I
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So let's get to the questions now. You have 3 core session scenarios.
Yes.
What are these 3 core sessions?
Okay. So one of the things that I've done now, and since I gotten to this point, is the reason. Let me start with the reason that I'm doing that, because with all of my experience, I have recognized that there are cores that you can address with, I would say, groups of fetish interests. So I'll go through my package. My 3 core sessions are spanking, femdom, and bondage. So I'll explain those. So spanking is, and I take a very, it's one of my primary fetishes, and that encompasses domestic discipline, school teacher, boss, all those kinds of familiar domestic, iconic female authority roles. Mommy. I'm a mommy now.
You're a mommy now.
I am a mommy now. Yes. I am finally at that age where it's realistic for me to be a mommy. But within that, the feel that goes into those scenes is what I am focusing those things around. In spanking, it's it's kind of a wicked, loving, caring but cruel, compassionate but firm. All of those things that are seemingly opposites, but they come together in this sort of nurturing, dominant, not domineering necessarily, but dominant way that is very evocative of, youth, childhood, etc. The femdom sessions are, if anybody's seen my strap-on work, that's where that comes in. Where, and all the cruel, nasty femdom stuff, spitting in your face and kicking you in the balls and, just, fucking you in the ass and telling you what a little fucking fucker you are, that kind of thing. I have come up with some amazing stuff. It is so funny to hear what comes out of my mouth later.
That's one thing about, especially the humiliation and stuff like that,
Mm.
is the insults, the creativity of insults.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most creative insult that you, or just like, I can't believe I just called you that.
I love what I
Like,
say.
did you ever call someone a douche canoe?
Oh, not in session, but yeah. I have told people I really get into it with strap-on domination. It's something that has been, my personal kink for a long time. And I think one of your questions, Nick, is about strap-on or something like that. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sure there's a question about strap-on.
I was doing a phone session with one of my regulars one time, and and I feed off of the energy, and I found myself saying things like, all you are is just a fleshlight on legs. You're just, you're just my double-ended fuck tube. You're just a support system for my, for that cock hole and so on. Hello, PD. How are you? And just the whole, just like really objectification, dehumanization, that kind of scene like really brings out, honestly, it really kind of brings out the masculine side of me. I kind of change a little bit when I strap on. Like as soon as I have a cock on, I'm like, yeah, that's right. And so that's that whole femdom, like humiliation. That's what that core session is centered around. And then the bondage session is specifically not necessarily a DS atmosphere. So it's different from, each one has differences from the other. Each session has differences from the others. So the bondage is it's about the bondage. It's about the restriction. It's about the encasement. It's about the helplessness. It's about the freeing you so that you can float in this space, this kind of meditative space. It is about serious and heavy bondage, layers and layers, every part of you, your fingers and your every part of you given bondage treatment. And obviously it takes a long time and, so on. So each of those sessions is a different mental focus and atmosphere. And it's, when I look at, okay, so everybody's seen Dom websites, right? Where they have this kind of laundry list of things that they do. And, it's kind of like, okay.
I know I've seen them.
Yeah. And people often have this, like this kind of laundry list of things. It's just, here are all the things that I can do. Well, how long, when you're looking at a list like that, it's great to see your kinks represented, but it becomes kind of like, who's going to read a really long list? And then if you're coming for the session, it leaves you with more decisions to make and so on. I like to take that away from people and say, I understand you. I know what you need. Here's your experience. I know how long it should be. I know what to do. I know how to treat you, and I know how to get into the core of you and give you what you really need. This is what I specialize in. And, and I still entertain requests for other things too, like, I don't know, tickling or something like that, whatever. Things that I'm into, but I don't necessarily, include in my core specialties. I'm still open to that, but I really like to put across that understanding. It's very, very important. That's really honestly what it comes down to, is feeling understood.
Now, let's talk about pegging. Let's get serious. Serious. When it comes to pegging, three questions, and these are all from people. The first question is, I'm a woman who's never pegged a boyfriend, and we're thinking of doing it for the first time. So, what advice would you give that person? And
Okay.
before you answer that, these are the two other questions. And these are mine.
Yeah.
What's the best thing to say while pegging somebody? And then also, there's the flip side. What is the worst possible thing you could say to somebody when pegging somebody?
Okay. The best thing. Okay, wait. First of all,
You're the bussy boss, right?
Yeah, we're gonna need
That's why we're gonna get to that. I figured I'd sneak that title in.
So, when you're starting out, some a lot of it's good practical sense. Go really slowly. There's a great book, by the way, called Anal Pleasure and Health. It's by Dr. Jack Morin, Morin. And it not only talks about the physiology of ass play, but the emotions that are attached to ass play. There's a reason why we describe somebody who's kind of tightly wound as being anal retentive, because it really does. When you think about, like, if you watch a video of somebody, like, doing cliff diving or something where it makes you nervous, what happens? Your butthole puckers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's directly connected to your emotions. So anal play requires, vulnerability and trust, and relaxation, and with your partner is good because you know each other, and so that builds that can help build it too. On the flip side, it can be a little bit too vulnerable sometimes for somebody to reveal themselves to their partner in that way. So you do want to build that comfort, like, I'm not going to judge you, whatever happens, I love you, and this is fine, and this is good, and you're valid, and I still love you and accept you. So, before care and after care are important. I'm going to share with you my personal special technique. Should patent this or something.
Yes, share with us your personal special technique.
Okay, so here's my secret to great anal play.
Okay.
Take your time. And when I say take your time, I mean, like, and there's no such thing as too much lube in this area. So, lube up your finger, lube up the hole, just lube. And then you take your finger and you start tracing up and down the crack inside. You start in the area. You just start teasing and tracing, getting the body used to your touch, up and down the inside of the crack. Not going near the hole first, just okay. And you can feel the person getting a sense of your touch. and becoming more reassured too that you're not just good, you know. And then you slowly work your way towards the hole, and you're getting closer and you're getting closer, you know, getting your fingers lubed up and so on. And then you get to the hole and you start to just, with the flat of your finger, just circle and rub and just tease and rub. And you'll feel the sphincter start to relax. And then it'll start to kind of wake up a little bit. And you keep this up for a while until you start, and it'll be kind of involuntary. You start to feel a little flex. That hole starts to flex a little bit. And then you take the tip of your finger and you just rest it inside that pucker. You just rest it in there. And it's a tremendous tease, you know. But I like to hold it there. I like to hold it there in that little pucker until the hole starts to flex outwards. I like to say, I'm going to wait like a vampire. I'm going to wait until you invite me in. And it is a tremendously effective way to introduce yourself to someone's body. You show them that you're sensitive and that they can trust you. Again, it's a tremendous tease. And you don't have to guess as much about, oh, is this okay? Like when that hole starts to pucker out at you, because it's, you know, if you have somebody like just resting a finger on your butthole, eventually your butt's going to be like, what's going on? So then you start to slowly push in and you start to, you know, explore very slowly and so on. And the prostate is, everybody's prostate is located a little bit differently, and, you know, it's like snowflakes. You get inside and the prostate's usually, I don't know, anywhere from here to here inside his ass, depending on how he's built or whatever. Usually I have to use my middle finger, depends on how big your hands are or something, but usually I have to use my middle finger and get, like, I go up to the knuckle. But you'll start to feel the prostate, and it's this kind of bump inside. And then as you stroke on and around it, you'll feel it swell. And it kind of feels like a little brain because there's this groove running down the middle of it. And when it starts to swell and you find that groove, take that finger and rub and massage, swirl, you know, just penetrate it. It's his G-spot. So work with that and you will feel like, yeah, he's going to feel that. And, you know, and that's the introduction. And then from there, you know, it's just a little more stretching, lube. And, you know, and just kind of play with it. Some people just like a duck to water and they just open right up. Some people take a lot longer, you know, it just depends. But it's all in the name of fun. There's not a competition. It's not a race. You know, there's probably a good chance that he or you have watched some pegging porn or something. And it's like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to take the biggest dick. Yeah. Guys' eyes are always bigger than their holes. Like, you know, I admit I have a hard time buying smaller cocks. I like to buy, everybody likes to see a huge dick, right?
It's a different version of the size queen.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I want to have this nice, sexy, huge cock. And I'm like, okay, but if I actually want to fuck him, I'm going to have to scale it down.
Well, back to when we were talking last time, or we were on the phone last week, we were talking about the questions and stuff like that. And you remarked on Kate West questions of, why are men so obsessed with their assholes? So what's in your opinion, your professional opinion, why are men so obsessed with their own assholes?
Oh my God.
And you can go metaphoric on this. You can go like, you can take a metaphor, symbolic route. You don't have to be
in practical,
science.
and societal, and emotional, and metaphorical ways. Well, for one thing, it's such a, I mean, societally speaking, it's still such a, you know, a naughty thing or a taboo to receive anal play. You know, it's why, like, you know, so much of porn includes like, you know, eventually the girl gets fucked in the ass, you know, whatever. Because it's like, oh, that's the further limit than
The story
vaginal
of
sex.
life.
Yes, exactly.
Eventually, a girl gets fucked in the ass.
Which is
That's gonna be on my epitaph. It makes it even weirder.
you know. But emotionally and societally, it's still a very societally it's still a very sensitive thing. Pun intended. You know, where guys are, there's still so much you know, homophobia and especially for men to receive is still such a hugely sensitive topic. Uh, and thank you. And Nico, hello, thank you. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. For you know, okay, I'm gonna talk a little bit more generally here. Who's got a heart on? Yes. um, it is, yes, all the lube, absolutely, yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go on with your.
No, no, no. You
Why are
know,
men
so
obsessed with their own asshole?
societally, we are looking at this crisis of men in society right now,
Oh yeah.
where masculinity is being redefined assertively, even aggressively. Society is shifting, masculinity is being redefined, but it's not being replaced with anything really structured. We've had a couple movements that you know, for men's rights and so on, but it's kind of veered and, you know, kind of veered off track and blah blah blah. And men are left with this kind of, where do I stand? I want to live a more fulfilling emotional life. I want to be more of a human being. I'm crying out for connection, for support. I'm crying out to be vulnerable and to receive, but I don't feel safe. Yes, the future is female. But you know, they're lost and they're confused, and I feel them. I feel for that. And what I do in my practice, in my work, is provide that experience of where it's safe to be vulnerable. That's the most crucial thing. And what can be more vulnerable for a man physically and sexually than his butthole, you know, exploring and giving up his butthole. I firmly believe, I really do, this is 100%, every male bodied person needs to experience penetration at least once in their life. And flip side too, I think every woman should experience, you know, every female bodied person should experience wearing a strap on too. A male receiving, there's just something about being physically penetrated, being physically vulnerable in that way that is impossible to convey any other way than experientially.
And so what was the line you said? Every man should be.
Every man should experience penetration, and every
at least once
woman,
in life.
yes, at least once in his life, preferably more than once. You gotta have practice, you know. Might not.
I also have a quote. I kind of feel a little bit. I kind of change a little bit. ... When I strap on.
Oh,
I like using it as a quote. Anyway, we have questions. We have questions. We're all.
yeah.
Oh wait. Oh. So pegging. You're pegging someone.
Yes, yes.
What do you say when you're pegging them?
Wait. Oh no, I didn't finish. Hold on. So men should experience penetration, and women should experience what it's like to wear a strap on. Because let me tell you something. Nothing will teach you more respect for men's efforts in bed, like what it actually takes to move your hips in a good penetrating rhythm. Ooh, it takes some work, you know. And after I started doing strap-on play, I was like, wow, is that really what guys have to do? Wow, you know what? Good for you guys. It's, you know, I got respect for that, you know. So everybody needs to have a little bit of empathy directly.
That is a beautiful sentiment. Honestly, yes. All women should try strap on just so they know what the men go through.
Yeah,
And
you know,
all men should be penetrated. So,
Mhm.
yeah, let's
They
balance it
should be
out.
penetrated, and then they should also suck that strap on so they know what it feels like to have your jaw open for a length of time. It's like, yeah, you should know what it feels like from a first person perspective. I think it would, honestly, I think it does build empathy, and a little humility.
Yeah.
so, so we're saying about things to say during strap-on scenes. Okay,
Yeah.
so the best things to say, um, I think that this is the best opportunity. This is the moment when you um, seize upon that feeling. Okay, superpower.
Yeah, we'll get
When
to
you
that.
seize upon that feeling of like, of what would a man say? What would a man like to hear? That kind of thing, where seize that control, that power, like lean over into his ear and whisper, "Yeah, I'm balls deep inside you. Can you feel me filling you up? Can you feel how you feel? You're my dick puppet now. You're on the end of my cock, and you're my little puppet, and you're my fuck toy." And just like taking, like, yeah, get into that where it makes it really explicit. He can't hide, he can't run. He has to really just, hearing a woman get that graphic and that excited and controlling and just, communicate through your cock is, oh, he's putty. He's putty in your hands. He will just, oh God, just, yeah, be the dick master. Yes.
And what is the
Um,
worst possible thing you could say, or that you have heard someone say?
ew.
Yeah, no, that's
you know,
quick, effective,
like,
short. Yeah.
yeah, anything that's like disgust or like, yeah, make them gag on it. Yeah, pretty little piggies. Yes. Anything. I mean, in a humiliation scene, this is fine. But if you're like with your partner or something, and you're like, all right, are we done yet? Anything that like makes
Yeah.
him feel like he's a burden, or he's just, like rejected. Anything that makes him feel rejected in that sense of like, in his moment of vulnerability, worst thing. Worst thing. What are, when he's being vulnerable like that? Oh, when he's
Oh,
being
here's
vulnerable.
another one. Stan goes, in other words, you're driving tonight. Oh, good.
um,
We can make a
so,
whole episode of just things to say while pegging.
oh yeah, oh my God. Pegging college. Oh my God. Yeah,
All right, let's go to the fan questions. We didn't even
oh,
get. We didn't say we talked so much. We didn't get through. Let's
I
ask
know.
the Stan question. This is the
Let's talk
Stan
about
question. Stan, if you could have any superpower, what would it be, and how would you use it in your kink life?
oh jeez. Oh my goodness. If I had a superpower, I would want to be like Dr. Manhattan, like where I could just rearrange molecules, something like that. I used to want to be able to fly, or be able to teleport or something. Well, we know the hazards with teleportation. If you don't know where you're going, you could really screw yourself up.
Yeah. And then
Um,
there's the movie The Fly.
yeah, yeah.
That didn't bode well for him.
No, it did not. And being able to fly is only so good as long as you can like be invisible on radar, or be invisible period, because somebody's going to be like, all right, that doesn't look right, and shoot you out of the sky. So I would want to be able to, I guess you could say shapeshift, but
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, have that kind of power to rearrange, not just into like another human form, but you know, wouldn't it be nice if I could just grow my own cock? Um, and I've always wanted a prehensile tail. I want a tail that, tell me to bottom out your slut hole. Ooh, yeah, slut hole. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the slut hole. I like slut holes.
Yes, slut hole.
It's a great term.
Slut
No, that's
hole.
great. Okay. Then
Yes.
we have of course Gary always asks this. Hi, mistress. Do you like barefoot ball busting?
Of course I do. Oh yeah, feeling it's almost like in slow motion, feeling the scrotum and the balls just flatten out on my foot. It's I can almost feel it in slow motion. You know, the flattening out, the squishing, and then him going, oh, you know, just never gets old. Please share the most brutal ball busting I have done. Oh, let's see. Let's see. It goes back to, I would say, I had this one dude who was really into, and I would tie, I love doing this, tie his balls to his big toes with like a short rope so that he's forced to, and on his hands and knees, and he's forced to keep his feet up off the floor. So he's kind of crawling around on his hands and knees, but like really on his knees. And he's kind of tugging a little bit inadvertently on his balls. And then I'm just walking along behind him. I have him on a leash or something. And I'm just walking along, you know, with my foot between his legs and just, bam, just, you know, slamming my foot into his balls. Sometimes I'll wear pumps with little spikes on the top or something. But yeah, I got him to bleed. Yeah, he was crawling around and his balls started to bleed. And actually, now that I think about this, oh, I have a dude. He has been with me for, God, I think like this is 18 years now.
Okay. Oh my God, you're so inspired. Oh, this is good. All right.
Okay. So, this is a much better example. Okay. So bless his heart, this guy, I love him to death. He's so sweet and clean and polite, just a super gentleman. And he will take everything I have to dish out. So what
I'm gonna put you full screen for this, just so you know.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna be up in here.
Because I'm giggling. Okay. So what I will do is put him on his back and I like sit full force on his face, like just, you know, full on smothering, like human chair, not gentle, just like, you know, he's, you know, gasping for air. I let him get a little bit of air every now and then. But I grasp his cock in my left hand and I take my right hand, because I'm right-handed, and I gather up his balls in my right hand. And then over the course of the next 2, 3, 4 hours, depending, I will proceed to do things like, so I'm sitting on his head, so he can't, you know, get away from me. And I will grip him by the balls and pull his lower body up by his testicles, like as hard as I can. So he's just like bridging upwards and all the weight, you know, basically he's like hanging by his balls. And then I'll slap his balls and, you know, open hand like that, punch his balls, etc. And he starts to turn like purple and blue from that. And I slap his cock around too, and, you know, same thing. But I did one session where it was a 4-hour session, and I, you know, worked my way through bare hands and then implements and so on. And at the end of the session, I said, all right, I want to punch you in the balls. I'm going to punch you square in the nuts. And he's like, okay, yes, goddess. Yes, ma'am. So I put his hands up in overhead suspension and I dropped to, you know, like a combat stance. I dropped down on one knee and I squared up and just from the shoulder, just bam, just like jabbed him straight in the balls. Like, yep, just a full-on boxing jab right in the balls. And he's, you know, he's restrained, so he can't drop or anything. And I just like, I used his balls as my punching bag. And I just just drew back and bam. And I think I got like, and this is after 4 hours of like, bam, bam, just, you know, just knocking his balls around, you know, like they didn't have any nerves in them. And I think I got like 4 good shots in before his knees buckled and he was like, I might throw up. I was like, okay. But I was so proud proud of that. It was so much fun. Just, he was at this tender stage already. And then just that, I love it. Like if you just being able to tell a dude, I'm going to punch you square in the nuts and mean it and do it. Ah, oh, that was a good point.
But Dan Cummings has a question. Hello, mistress. What do you
Hello.
think are society's biggest misconceptions about being a dom?
Well, I would say for one, the first one that comes to mind is the perception of doms as being man haters or being vindictive. And this is also borne out in fantasy too, because like how many
Yeah, a lot of it's role play.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I'm mad at you, so I'm gonna do this and this and this to you, that kind of thing. So I think that's like that's probably the first thing that comes to mind. Oh boy. Okay. Here's one that's a little bit off the trail, I guess. But I think sometimes people think that like a dominant woman is doesn't have feelings, or that she is taking this path because she's cut off from her feelings or emotionally damaged, or simply that she just I've gotten this from dominant men where it's kind of this like, well, you just haven't met the right man to submit to yet. And I'm like, yeah, that's not what's happening. There is this, there's this kind of difficulty sometimes with imagining or accepting women's dominance or women's power in general. It's society's depiction of sexuality as regards women is what? That men are supposed to be dominant and take charge in bed. All this is a man is supposed to know what to do in bed, and he has to pleasure the woman. And if he's not doing the right job, then it's his fault, and blah, blah, blah. And the woman is supposed to be all like, I'm supposed to be a beautiful flower that will entice the man so that he can make love to me or fuck me, whatever. And it's obviously that is not a universal principle that we can rely upon, because people are trying to get 6 people together for dinner and have them all agree on the same thing. Now, if you're, like have just a simple basic thing like that, and everybody's got different opinions and different tastes and different preferences and stuff. So why on earth would we ever think that all males do sex this way and all females do sex this way? I would say that misconceptions about dom women. It's definitely an uphill. Oh yeah. Oh, hi Chris. Hi Chris. It's been a long time.
Chris Bacco says other misconceptions are that they're drug addicts, uneducated.
Drug addicts, uneducated, mentally unstable. Yeah.
Some are.
Yeah, well, sure.
Every party has them. Every party has drug addicts, uneducated people, mentally unstable people.
Yeah, the general populace is,
corporate America has that.
Politics, yeah. It's basically like kind of this diminishing, or it's like anything to explain why a woman would be the way that we don't expect her to be. It must be because of this. It must be because she had some sort of damage going on that she's compensating for or dealing with or as affecting her. Yeah. My ex said that he spent years going to fetish events with me, and he said, like, really, like the senior dom women, whatever, the experienced doms, he said they're the most give you the shirt off their back, like generous, maternal, like caring, sweetheart. They
want to keep it going.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to Mr. Shari from New Jersey. Very important part of your kinky friends. She's that type of person. Seriously, she'll bend over backwards to help you out, to help the community. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. And most, knowing doms straightened out my life. I'll tell you.
You know, and I'm going to speak. Oh, by the way, shout out to Mistress Genevieve, our beloved friend, and a
I
wonderful.
love Genevieve. Shout out to Genevieve,
And yeah,
the
talk
mistress
about
of
somebody who
naughty.
yeah, talk about somebody who'll give you the shirt off her back.
She's
Seriously,
amazing. She's an
she is.
absolute wonderful woman. I love Genevieve.
Yeah, she is a wonderful, wonderful person. And yeah, what were you just saying? Give you the shirt off their back. Yes. You said that knowing Doms to straighten you out. BDSM, femdom has saved me. Has actually saved me.
Yeah,
So
saved my life.
yeah, the conception of women, of dom women as being like so damaged and whatever is like, well, first of all, isn't everybody, but second of all, the way that I got into pro-doming was I was actively seeking, oh God, the
Someone
real
taught me
meanings of
friendshess,
friendship
the
and
real meanings of
unconditional love.
friendship, and
Oh
unconditional
my
love.
God, yes. Um, uh, exploring dominance in a structured way for myself. I was actively seeking out a path on which I could empower myself in a healthy way. I was seeking sexual empowerment in a healthy way. I was a very young woman. I had adverse experiences, you know, exploring sexuality in the world. And I went, you know, and I did have kink roots already, like since 15, I was exploring. So I had this inclination, I had an inkling of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do, thankfully. But studying BDSM amongst people who embodied this and lived it. And yeah, speaking of love and forgiveness and the tremendous generosity and maturity and responsibility that you learn when you are responsible for someone else in such a way, when you're holding their soul, their vulnerability and their humanity in your hands. And a sense of humor, yes, a sense of humor is,
Definitely.
yeah.
You need a sense of humor in life.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you,
Yeah.
one of the things that you do is public speaking, and you're taking this
Mhm.
knowledge that you've learned, this on how kink saved your life, basically, and you're trying to help spread that message. As I'm doing, trying to do the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
And you are.
so
You are.
tell us about your public speaking, and also because Chris wants us to keep a sense of humor. Tell us about how you messed up, or you said the wrong thing in public speaking, or a public speaking thing that you could have done better.
Oh my God. Okay. So let's see. Okay. All
You
right.
don't
All
have
right.
to tell that, but
No,
tell us about your public
no, no,
speaking.
no. So I've taught some classes. I've taught a few classes at DomCon, taught a couple classes there. I've taught informal. Oh, I've done some mentoring, so on. I've taught. Oh, I did a storytelling piece a few years ago for a Mystery Box show, which is defunct now, unfortunately. It was like a sexy storytelling evening, series of evenings. So public speaking, with classes that I present, you know, it's usually to a kink crowd, and so it's usually on a more technical aspect like chastity or cross-dressing, something like that, spanking, that kind of thing. So I'm, you know, I'm speaking at DomCon, so it's a mix. Some people are very experienced or semi-experienced, and some people are new. Which is always nice. I love talking to new people because you can see like them just soaking in the information. They're like, oh,
Yeah, it's a wonderful feeling too. It's like, wow, I have influence, you
yes,
know?
yes. And you know, because I mean,
And hopefully like they like my idea can help them have a good time, which is, you know.
yeah, I want them to take this and go, oh, and they like the light bulbs start to go off and they see, well, first of all, um, this whole time that I've been active, I have been an ambassador for kink.
Mhm.
And much more than public speaking, actually, is all of the personal moments that I've had countless times going to vanilla parties, being in a bar, what have you. My then partner got really used to, he'd wander off for a minute, come back, and I'd be holding court with like half a dozen people around me. Because when people start to they're very curious and they start to hear that I'm not embarrassed or ashamed, I'm perfectly, you know, fine with talking about it. And the important, when people see this and they go, well, she's intelligent and articulate, and she's very warm and funny, and just really nice person. Huh. Oh, that's another thing. That's another misconception about doms too, is that, oh, she's really a bitch, And when they see like, no, she's not a bitch, And I used to get this reaction of, but you seem so nice, or you seem so normal. And I had a few responses for that. One was that I don't think that, absolutely being dominant and being nice or normal are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You have to be grounded somewhere. But also, I like to point out, you're not in session with me.
Right. It's another, yeah.
Very different.
And you don't, just because you're a dominatrix doesn't mean you live it 24/7 with them.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You gotta, I always kind of liken it to, if you're at a cocktail party and somebody tells you they're a dentist, hopefully you don't immediately go, hey, can you, like, come on, put the job down at some point. Yeah. Yes. If you even if you enjoy it in your private life, doesn't mean we're going to do that right now. So that is much more than the big broadcast public speaking like this, or like Mystery Box or teaching or something like that. What my influence has been borne out over much more significantly has been these real world interactions where I get to talk to people on a casual person-to-person basis, where they see me as kind of a representative, basically. And yes, I'm fielding the questions of, how do I learn about this? Where do I go? Blah, blah, blah. Friends will always approach me inevitably when they start to have curiosity about kink. It's like, hey, can I get a bondage class with you or something like that? But I think that's pretty much the most important thing that I try to communicate, is that kink is you. Kink is me. Kink is that person. Like, all of the people around you, anybody you can think of, can be a kinkster. It's not like we're in this foreign country and you have to cross over the borders, and it's like, it's all around you. Normal people that in your everyday life do kink as well, and you can too. You don't have to feel, you don't have to be a different person in order to do this. You can explore. You should explore. This is your life. Explore it. But yeah, so what I could have done better. My first class presenting at DomCon, I did a cross-dressing class, and it was fun, but I tried to cram way too much information into one class. And I had like this whole handout that I gave people, and it was only like an hour and a half or something that I had, and I dressed up a live model, like did a makeover on him. In fact, he liked it so much, actually, he wore it to the fetish ball that night. I know, it was really cute. It was his
first time. Makes you proud too, right?
I was so proud. I was so proud. He was like, "Oh, I love it. Do you mind if I keep this on?" I was like, "Go ahead. Yeah, you should." And I'm glad to say that now he sent me some pictures. I think it was last year. He's in New York, but he sent me some pictures of his full persona, all kitted out, all dressed up. He's a beautiful girl. Oh my goodness, he is a great. The bitch has it going. Okay. she looks good. She looks good. And I was the first one to dress him. So, actually, that's also awesome. From that class, I saw someone else at the fetish ball, and she was like, "Oh, I took your fetish, I took your cross-dressing class, and I took your hints, and I did it, and I just feel so great." And I was like, "Oh, that's wonderful. You look amazing." And I didn't know who it was. I couldn't.
Well, that also kind of comes with the territory. The more people you coach and the more people you teach, but they're all yours. They're all yours.
Yeah.
You want to know them all. Yeah, but it just shows what a great teacher you are. It really does. How experienced you have.
It was so cool, and I was trying to imagine her as a guy, and I'm like, who was it? And I was. It's like, yeah, but it's so much fun. I've met vanilla people who, oh my God, I spoke to a human sexuality class at Portland State University.
Keep Portland weird.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really funny because how did I even get to that? I don't know. Somehow as a oh yeah, now I'm remembering other speaking engagements I've done. Uh so this one at PSU, I was talking to a human sexuality class, and the the instructor was just having a great time. He was just sitting over on the sidelines, like just kind of nodding and stuff. And the students were all asking me all these questions and so on. That actually led into a couple of interesting moments. The first thing I'm going to say is that much later, I think it was like a year or two later, there was a local place, a local like cafe that opened near me, and I met one of the servers, and she was like, "I saw you talk to my class at PSU."
Nice.
And I was like, "Oh my god!" So that was fun. But the cool part too about that class that I spoke to was at the end of the class, people. I stayed for a while afterwards to answer questions, and this one woman came up to me, and she said, "Isn't this just abuse? What is the difference between this and abuse?" And I said, "All right." And I talked to her for like half an hour. And she wasn't trying to be like judgmental or mean. She was really trying to wrap her head around this. She just was really having a time of it. And I spoke to her and I said, communication and connection are essential.
Yes.
The difference between this, and here I've come up with what I think is a good analogy for it. BDSM is to abuse like martial arts are to a bar fight. BDSM is a studied, structured, intentional expression with boundaries, with consent, with an encasement around it. It's encapsulation here, and it is specifically not to be used for expressing out of control emotions. Put the whip down and walk away and, have some therapy or something, that kind of thing. Abuse is obviously the opposite. It is destructive. It is unstructured. It is exploitative and takes advantage of somebody and so on. And, obviously a difference like between martial arts, martial arts were developed as, combat techniques. And then they were, refined into more of an art form and so on. And now we practice it as a sport, as an expression, etc. But we would not accuse a martial artist of being, a brute by, even when you take down a
Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse,
right?
The bar fight.
Yeah, exactly. And or even boxing. Boxing might be a better example. You watch a boxing match and they're beating the shit.
I know that analogy is, I think, is spot on, actually.
Yeah.
When it comes to classes, what are some of the classes that you really are proud of, that you love teaching, and why?
Chastity was a class that I taught that I really loved teaching.
Really? I got to show you something. Keep talking.
It's a fascinating and complex topic, and it's becoming, oh yes, there we go.
Custom made.
Oh, goody. Oh, very nice. Yes.
So when it comes to chastity, metal, silicone, or plastic?
What do I prefer?
Yes.
Oh, metal. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go on. Chastity class.
Yeah.
Your favorite class?
Yes. Ideally, it would be a device that would incorporate a Prince Albert or some other piercing that is it's impossible to remove without the key, and it's like lightweight and that kind of thing. But for practical purposes, silicone or plastic is fine. One of the things that when I gave the chastity class, I had my then chastity sub with me, and so he actually could speak from the male perspective, which was so great. we actually answered, we stayed for a while after that class too and answered a bunch of questions with a couple of people. But yeah, hygiene is one thing that people don't really think about with chastity devices. And he could speak to like how you actually keep yourself clean when you're wearing a device. But chastity, again, like anal play, drills into the male experience of sexuality.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm going to take this right now to say that outside of a fetish context, it is wrong that we bring penis size into insults about men. Oh, he's insecure. He must have a small dick. I'm so
Or
fucking
big dick energy.
Yeah, I'm so fucking tired of hearing small dick used at, oh, he's got a small dick, blah, 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 blah. First of all, enough with the body shaming, for real. Enough with the body shaming. Men have various sizes of penises. I am so sick and tired of the importance being placed on pills or device, whatever, to enlarge your penis or something, as if that makes you a better or bigger person. No pun intended. But but it's your humanity and your intelligence and whatever are not fucking concentrated in your cock. If they are, then you have a problem. You should go to therapy. But it's this,
Or read a book.
Yeah, exactly. Now, controlling the orgasmic response and controlling sexuality with the chastity device, that is very powerful. Because it's powerful for anybody, really. I mean, if a woman is wearing a chastity belt too, it's a little more complicated because we have to pee, but again, kind of like pegging, where you reorient the mind. That's really what it's about, reorienting the mind of instead of the sexual attention being concentrated almost exclusively on the penis, then it becomes, when you're in chastity, then it becomes, where else can I express this? How else can I express this?
Yeah.
The emotion starts to flow up out of the penis and into other areas of the body. I have brought men to orgasm just from nipple play, because when you are not focused on the penis, then other things get more sensitive.
I have brought women to orgasms just from nipple play, and it's an
Yeah.
amazing experience.
Yeah.
And then that also goes into the whole thing with the pegging and chastity play. Why is it, for example, me, right? I would only entertain the notion of pegging, and I'm kinky as can be, so trust me, I know what I'm doing. But I've been there before, done that. But I only it only would interest me if I am locked in chastity. So what does that say?
Yeah, that says a lot too. It's the completion of that reversal, if you will, making your cock helpless and taking it out of the equation, taking it out of the way. It is a huge relief a lot of times, in some ways, for men to, oh God, because otherwise, what are you going to do? You're going to jerk off as often as you need to, or as often as you can, whatever, and especially for people who, for whom that kind of starts to run their life, chastity can be a big relief. Conversely, people who have low libido, men who have low libido or erectile difficulties or something, it's a relief to not have that be the focus. It's a relief to not have that expectation of performance. It's funny, even now, clients will sometimes come to me and say, I have diabetes or I'm on medication or something, so I probably won't get an erection. Yeah. And I'm like, that is fine. I understand. And when you get into a pain response, if I'm beating the shit out of you, you're probably not going to have an erection, because the adrenaline, the pain response, your body's like, erection is not important right now. we are doing something else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So taking the chastity, putting on the chastity first, before you peg, and then it just completely, I think maybe the pegging alone is not enough to really get you over into that other experience. You have to, it's kind of like having bondage. You have to be in bondage to take certain things too. Well, your cock is in bondage. So taking that out of the equation, it's like, all right, that's no longer a concern. I'm going to completely focus on my ass now, on my receptive experience. And yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I said, like taking your concentration, your attention, your emotional center. It moves your emotional center out of your cock and into wherever you want it, basically, wherever your top wants it. So, yeah.
So remember that story, that delightful, charming story about cock and ball torture, the most brutal thing that you ever did? Well, Nico Noir has an answer. Says, "Bam! Oh fuck, that wins the day."
Yes.
So we do
I know
have
my
some more
doms out there
questions.
can feel it.
Okay, we do have some more questions. PD says, "Do you own any personal slaves, ma'am?" No capital M. What is it? If you do, what are the tasks do they have to perform for? What are the tasks do they have to perform
Okay.
for you?
So yeah, I do have a personal slave. I really only have like one collared slave at a time because I I have that intense
Time is
connection.
important.
Is
Time is
that?
precious. Yeah,
Yes,
attention and time is precious. You can't have
exactly.
all
And
these slaves. Can't keep track of them. Can't keep attendance.
I mean, I have submissives. I have some long distance subs. I have some people who are submissive to me who have a relationship with me in that way. But when I'm talking about like, you have a dedicated contract with me. It's a as one of my colleagues once said, a slave is a boyfriend you don't give pussy to. And I'm not going to have more than one boyfriend at the time. I mean, I have been poly, but at this moment, I am too. It's like to have the scheduling and the emotional commitment and so on. I focus on. Yeah, I can have a boyfriend and I can have a slave. They're not the same person. They do different things. I like to say my boyfriend is my dick and my slave is my pussy. So anyway,
That's
um,
nice. Okay.
but the tasks they have to perform for me are my. I like what I like to call an alpha slave. They
Yeah.
become my right hand. Like I trust them and I depend on them to be able to do what I say. So things like do grocery shopping for me, do research on stuff. Give you an example. I wanted to put an air conditioning unit in the window, but you need to have like a plexiglass thing above it. So I say, okay, slave, go get research and get me an air conditioning unit, and then do the research and go to the hardware store and get that plexiglass cut, that kind of thing. Things that make my life easier, better. It could be, also little small things too, like washing the dishes. I haven't had somebody do my laundry in a while because like I did have a slave turn an entire load of laundry pink one time.
Once a slave turns your laundry pink, I don't know
He did get his ass.
what kind of punishment. What kind of punishment do you give that? Do you give that slave?
I got my what I call my punishment. Well, now I have a bunch of them, but I have a dog whip that's like it's a really heavy like two-tailed whip, and I call it my punishment whip. And I was like, all right, go get the punishment whip.
Wow.
And
Surprised you
once
didn't
he's
paint him pink.
crying, then what?
I'm surprised you didn't paint him pink. And
Actually,
then
one time he brought me iced tea that was artificially sweetened, and I was like, when have I ever drunk something that was artificially sweetened? So I made him get in the bathtub and I just poured the whole bottle over him, and I didn't let him take a shower before he went. So he had to put his clothes back on, and he just
well, you know what, Anna?
yes.
You know what? I don't like artificial sweeteners either. I don't drink them. I drink what I'm drinking right now. I'm not playing a plug, but it's just water with fruit,
Yeah, I'm
citrus.
doing this it's like a cold tea, strawberry
Yeah.
tea sort of infusion thing.
Okay.
But yeah.
So before we get to the next question, please explain how you're the bussy boss.
Oh goodness. Okay. Well, do we all know what a bussy is? Yes. No. Okay. I'll take it from the top.
For those who don't know,
a
what's your
bussy,
definition?
a bussy is a boy pussy.
Yes.
It's that sweet little hole that males have that I like to fuck. And yeah, I am the boss of that. Yes, I'm the boss that comes in, as it were. I am the boss of the bussy. I know what it needs. I know how to handle it. I know how to train it. I know how to own it. It serves me. Yeah. I Yep.
So, one of the questions I have, and that another person has, because some of the fans who watch this are like they love sissy culture, sissification, and stuff like that. And there's something called the sissygasm, which is basically hands-free, usually locked in chastity, and orgasm just through anal penetration.
Yes.
So,
The Holy Grail.
since you're the bussy boss, how do you? What is a right way to give someone a sissygasm?
Okay. So again, this is, as I was saying earlier about training and so on. So a lot of and this is chastity comes in beautifully here. It all kind of comes together, where again, it needs to be refocused from a penile response to more of a penetrative response. So and it goes different ways with different people. Some people take right to it, and some people take a little bit more time or whatever. But shift first of all with masturbatory habits, edging, and then combining edging with penile edging with anal play, anal training. So eventually someone will get to the point where they are desperate enough to come that it will naturally start to shift over to, it's kind of like with a female body, training yourself to have more like G-spot orgasms, where it's if you're not used to G-spot stimulation, it can feel like you just have to pee or something.
Yeah.
But working in that, and there's still some stimulation of the area around. So when you see somebody have a sissygasm where it's just like you just see the part where they are getting penetrated and so on, or penetrating themselves, there's also, there's still attention paid to the area around the hole too, at least at first. but it's a gradual working of from the penis, like connecting the nerves and the practice to making it located in the ass. So chastity is really good with this, where you can't have an orgasm that well. Actually, no, you can have an orgasm that way. You just can't get an erection that way. But if you keep the chastity on and you start training the ass, like giving prostate stimulation and practice, honestly, just practice, practicing like more than you would to just have sex. I'm talking like a few times a week, every other day, maybe every day. Getting your ass used to that kind of play, of penetration, of teaching your body those sensations. And at first, you're probably going to have to connect the two, like do anal play for a certain amount of time, and then like maybe put a vibrator on the cock or something like that to just at the very end, that kind of thing. Then you move into edging, where there is no penile release, and then you move it more and more and more into like keep the chastity on, and the only way that you can come is from getting fucked in the ass. Eventually, the body will learn. Eventually, if you make it, like I said, if you make it so that
the fun part is teaching it.
It is so fulfilling, honestly. It's so fulfilling to watch somebody have a hands-free orgasm, and to make somebody have a hands-free orgasm. I've done some shoots where with some very talented bottoms where they only had anal orgasms, and with that, keeping you can have ejaculatory orgasms with penetration, but you can also have just anal orgasms too. And I have helped people have intense anal orgasms on camera where they can have them over and over and over again. So the multiply orgasmic experience comes from that penetrative prostate stimulation. So that's something else to help motivate people in their search for a hands-free orgasm. Is that is how you can come multiple times if you're a male.
Stan
Ah,
Vladimir asks, when it comes to chastity devices, is there a difference for circumcised and uncircumcised,
hmm.
specifically for hygiene purposes?
That is a really good question. So, most I would say I play with anybody. You know, so yeah, when the penis is soft, then it kind of doesn't. Everything's going to be kind of squished in together. For hygiene purposes, yeah, that would be a little bit more challenging when you have the device on. And first of all, every time you pee, you have to rinse the device to rinse any urine out. My chastity sub would carry a little squirt bottle of water with him to sort of hose
That's a
himself
good
down.
idea.
Yeah, it's a really good idea. And Q-tips. He would take Q-tips dipped in silicone lube and kind of lube himself every now and then to keep so water and silicone to keep it from sticking. And I would say you could probably do the same with an uncircumcised, uncut penis. And you do have to, interesting. He did take it off, I guess. How often did he take it off? I guess it depends. Probably every few days, maybe a week or so, something like that, depending on your activities or something. Oh, also, sit baths. Just sitting in the bathtub and just like getting everything rinsed and wet and so on. That, if you're uncircumcised, that's a really good way to keep the hygiene going. But you can, yeah, you could have, I think probably just like pull the skin back a little bit more. Any type of penile insertion.
Collective reader, have you done any type of penile insertion? Well, let's just say, let's go to sounding or any type of
Sounds.
inserting anything into the penis
Oh
anywhere.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I've done sounds. I've placed Foley catheters, which, if you're not aware, it's the kind that you get in the hospital where it's a long rubber tube with an inflatable balloon on one end.
Yeah,
And
those are kind of dangerous, though, aren't they?
well, if you're reckless with them, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, though, honestly, in all seriousness, anything you put up the urethra is potentially injurious. So you have to be very careful with placing it.
I had a liver transplant. I was in a coma, and I woke up
Right.
with a
Oh, God.
catheter. And dealing with the catheter in and out is a nightmare.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to do it for fun. But that's just me. Everyone's different, to each his own. I am
Yeah,
not kink
yeah.
shaming at
Well,
all.
some of the people I've played with who have medical fetishes, that's how they got their medical fetishes, because they had some kind of hospitalization that they were like, I'm going to do this in a fun way.
And
Oh, what are my
that's Stan
thoughts on medical
Vladimir. What are your
play?
thoughts on medical play? When I was in the hospital, I was stuck in a bed, and of course, my imagination is wild. So it's a nonstop erotic cabaret, basically, in my mind,
Mhm.
even when I'm dying. And I have a newfound appreciation for medical play now. The doctor, the nurse, the being helpless, the restraint, still hospital restraints. One thing I got out of my liver transplant, and even my my fiance who passed away, she had ovarian cancer. Hospital play. As soon as when she was in and out of the hospital, she would steal hospital restraints, medical play. So with medical play, do you enjoy medical play? What are your thoughts on medical play?
I
As
do.
Stan asks.
That's an area that I've kind of slowly gotten more into over the years. Uh, Basically because it is more technically involved. It's a more technical area of play. As I was just saying, that with the Foley catheter, things have to be sterile. There's much more importance about sterilization with medical play. With a Foley catheter, like for instance, like you get up, you can tell when it, yeah, you can tell when the end of the catheter goes in, it penetrates the bladder, because you'll see a little bit of pee come out, and then you fill the bulb so it can't be pulled out. But yeah, it's fun to play with things like that where it becomes bondage. Foley catheters, Bardex nozzles on enema tubes, where again you could get a single or double. Where a double Bardex, there's an inflatable ring on the outside of the sphincter and one on the inside of the sphincter, so you cannot remove something like that without assistance. Basically, somebody has to deflate the bulbs for that to be removed. Very handy. Foley catheters, I mean, any kind of catheters are great for long-term bondage. But medical play is, I love the invasiveness of it.
Yes.
Yeah. And you can get really, I love kind of like edging into like, first of all, I actually do know how to do a pelvic exam on a man. Did you know that the reason that doctors tell you to turn your head and cough is, I thought it was some kind of like, I don't know, special, it's so you don't spit in their hair. When you cough,
That makes sense.
turn your head, cough this way. It's just so you don't spit in their hair.
That makes
It was like
perfect
some
sense.
kind of doctor secret. No. We'll get to the force by in a second. But yeah, the medical fetish, like, you can get kind of bizarre with that. Obviously, the authoritative element of somebody being like, you're going to be strapped to the bed and that kind of thing. Full body casts, ooh, just that kind of total control and restraint really is so great. And then also, I'm fascinated with anatomy and physiology, with the workings of the human body. I like kind of mad scientist stuff too. I love scenes where it's like future gynocracy and the males are being harnessed and collected, and we're doing like sperm collection, like forced things of all kinds. Just all kinds of stuff like that goes with medical play. So yeah, that's how I feel, is the weird tinkering scientist in me loves that environment.
I have something to show you when it comes to medical play too.
Okay. Also sharp things. I love sharp things and just things that feel dangerous. Scalpels, needles, suturing, glue, staples. Just
So when I was a kid, right, and this is like just when I was discovering puberty, I was obsessed with mental institutions and straitjackets. So I would make my own straitjackets out of raincoats and belts and stuff.
Oh wow.
And I'd tie myself up and I couldn't get myself out. And
Uh-huh.
the fact that I couldn't get myself out was a turn on, obviously, for
Uh-huh.
me. So it's like,
Yeah.
no joke. Like the first orgasm I ever had was by accident. I thought I broke myself, right? So
Bless your heart.
fast forward years later, right? I got this as a birthday gift. I almost cried. It's a full on straitjacket, like a real one. Yeah, you could totally.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, look
And
at
it's like a real
you.
one too. Yeah, I know. It's adorable, isn't it?
That's so
So
cute. Aw.
you're clapping. Yeah. So
She's so happy.
Gall
Yes.
90 asks, what do you think about forced buy sessions between sex?
Oh, so we're going to go back to the. We had a lot of themes here today about male sexuality in society.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Well, Barbie came out. Now we have to talk about male sexuality.
that's right. Oh my god. That's right. So
I love the fact that all these people are up in arms about like this is the anti-men or whatever. Fucking grow up.
Nice. You are enough.
Yeah.
So force buy is a funny thing, isn't it? Because it's such an ultimate fantasy for so many slaves. And and it's so funny because I'm like, you just want to suck a dick, don't you?
You just want to, yeah. You want to suck a dick, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it is considered like such an ultimate thing, a sign of a slave's surrender is to do something that he wouldn't. I don't like men, I'm not into men, but I'll do it for you, kind of thing. That's how some are anyway. And then some others are like, some are more curious and they just need that a little extra push or something like that.
What's your opinion about it? Kind of goes with the kink, so to speak. Like when it comes to forced feminization, sissification, stuff like that. Um, a lot of it just kind of goes with the territory. It
Yeah.
seems in
Oh,
many
yeah,
ways.
absolutely. I mean, what's the next natural step? If you're all like, if you're fully feminized and you look really pretty, you look really good, you've got your little tiny waist and your little high heels, and you're like, you're tiptoeing around, what's the next natural thing, of course, to what could be more feminine, more feminizing than you get on your knees and you take a nice big dick in your mouth.
So you have a one thing that you do is domestic discipline.
Hmm.
So tell us about that, and how can people be helped by domestic discipline?
Ooh. All right. If I had a message for every woman in America, I would say if you took your husband, boyfriend, whatever, girlfriend, whatever, if you took your partner uh, over your knee once a week and took a hairbrush to their ass, your life would be better. Um, I have another quote. I've known so many men who just they would be so happy. They'd be so happy. And their marriage would be so good if their wife just did that. If she just was like, all right, you come here every Friday night. We're gonna, if he knew that every Friday night he was gonna get taken care of in that way. First of all, and I've been in domestic discipline relationships before where uh, it's a structured outlet for conflict. And again, this is where the line between abuse and play is. Because when you are having a discipline scene, it's intentional. You know what you're going to do. You know, the other person knows what you're going to do. Even you don't have to, not every single second necessarily, but you know what it's for. You're there for something. They're there for something, etc. It's an intentional and agreed upon consensual thing. And there's a point to it. There's a purpose to it. It's you might include a lecture. A lot of times it comes with a scolding or a lecture, which verbalizes what you did wrong, and your penance and so on. And then you carry out the discipline, you carry out the punishment, and then it's over. There is no holding of grudges. There is no, oh, next week when so and so is mad, they're going to bring this. No, it's the end of the issue. Now, I mean, you can teasingly remind them, but there's no coming back to them the next day and being like, you know what, blah blah blah, and arguing over it.
Let's
Then,
talk about it.
yeah, yeah. This is all the
Let's spend
talking needs to happen.
let's spend 4 more hours talking about the situation. It all can be solved with a spank.
Right? Yeah. Men out there, seriously, like, if you don't want to keep getting in arguments about shit, just go over her knee. Let her spank you. It'll be over. You'll feel better, And it's I love the
That's interesting.
structure.
I'm gonna use that next time. Just
Yeah, yeah. It's the structure of it. It is a because
sorry I didn't call. Then I'll bend over.
yes, that's right. Uh, but yeah, it puts intention into it, which is really what the missing part is, I think. And and you can actually have fun with it too.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great idea. My mind is racing now. All right, we got to wrap it up.
Oh no!
First of
Hey,
all,
I was going to say something about forced buy for a second too.
oh, forced
Oh,
buy. Okay,
okay, yeah.
forced me to talk
Another
about
thing.
buy.
Yes, I know. It's like we'll have to do another segment on this. But I was
Of
going to
course.
say,
Oh, I plan on having you over and over and over again, and
yes,
we have a new
good.
show. We have a new show that.
I know.
Yes.
Forced buy and cuckolding go together. Well, we'll talk about this another time, but talking about female sexual liberation and empowerment, and flipping the script on men being receptive and so on. And the whole thing, cuckolding and chastity, male jealousy, forced buy, all kind of existing in this same sort of sphere that they kind of get connected a lot of times. Really pushing on the boundaries of trust, of vulnerability, of emotional accessibility, of what it really means to trust and love your partner. Compersion. Do you really want them to be happy? Then you can extend yourself in this way. Whether it's forced by, whether it's pegging, whether it's chastity, domestic discipline too. Do you want your partner to be happy? These are some ways that you can connect with them in a fully trusting way. That is what is at the heart of all of it. And hey, if you want to sit there and hold each other's hands on a Friday night for half an hour, and that's how you get your conflict resolved, whatever. But that's what's at the heart of it. And but yeah, we could talk about this the whole rest of the night, but we'll do it another
We should
time.
do a whole episode just on that. Actually, that'd be
Yeah,
very interesting.
yeah. I think
Unfortunately, we have these other questions. Like, okay, what are some of these other questions we have?
okay.
What is your zodiac sign, John?
All right. I'm an Aquarius. My birthday is February 1st. Although I was born overseas, so I'm not sure how that plays into it. I don't know. You can look up where the solar system was.
Gary 123, Mistress, did any man cry during? You had a guy almost puke, so that kind of answers the question. Did he get PD? Do you enjoy toilet slavery, both water sport and hard sport? I never know. I never called it. I heard they call it brown showers, not hard sport. But
Yeah.
okay. So everyone's gonna ask that.
Yeah, the very first time somebody asked me about, Mistress, do you serve caviar in your sessions? And I didn't realize what he was talking about. I was very young. And I was like, bring your own caviar. What are you talking about? Anyway, yeah, I do like golden showers as a marking thing, as a humiliation thing, as just a pure lusty thing sometimes, just primal. Incidentally, I have given a few people their first golden showers that I don't know how this comes about, but I gave a friend he's a huge kinkster, but somehow he never had a golden shower, so put him in the bathtub, and I've given a few people actually, now that I think about it, I've given a few people their first golden shower. Maybe they see me as like
now that I think of it, I love how you say, this is the quote. Now that I think of it, shit, I've given a lot of people their first golden shower. You have to throw the expletive in there. Yeah,
it's like shit, man. And then I have never done. I've never given somebody my poop. I've never done a full-on brown shower. I have played with. I have made a slave eat his own shit. So that's
very solo, very one.
Yeah.
Pasolini-esque.
Yeah, that was an experience. Watching someone chew up and swallow, and he opened his mouth so I could see, but watching someone chew up and swallow their own shit was quite an experience. I was
PD asks, what is the most degrading and humiliating thing you've ever done to a slave?
Oh my God. Honestly, I think the most degrading and humiliating thing you can do to a slave, and I is just not be interested in them. Just be like, again, goes back to that.
Ignoring them is a form of attention almost.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you just don't think a slave wants that reaction, and so they want to connect with you. And if you're just like, nah, you're not interesting. That
okay. So let's wrap it up rapid fire. We do this every time, and it always changes. Yeah. Rapid fire recommendations, and this is just what's going on at your point in this life.
Okay.
So recommend a film.
Oh shit. I just went to see the original Ghost in the Shell released in 35mm print.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a classic of cyberpunk. I highly advise everybody see it at least once in their lifetime. It's a beautiful film. Yeah, I'm a huge film buff, so thankfully that's
I can talk movies forever.
I know,
my God, yeah. That's why I'm surprised you got the Sallow reference.
Oh man. Yeah. Woo.
Okay, so recommend a song.
A song. Oh my God. A few of them. I have been obsessed with the Smiths. What Difference Does It Make?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just such a catchy.
What difference does it make?
Oh. Yeah. I mean, he's just always about, I'm wallowing in heartbreak and whatever. Yeah. But yeah,
he's got a song. The Smiths have a song called Gene, and I think it's called Gene, and it goes, I lied in the streets and died, and I lied and I died. And I cried. And he's just like, oh God, he's just not stopping. He goes, I think Dana Gould has a comic bit about that. But still, I love Morrissey. I really do like
Yeah.
the Smiths. The Smiths.
Yes.
Morrissey nowadays is a little different, not
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
But what difference does it make is a great song. What
Yeah.
difference,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
All the singles that they did back then. All right.
yeah. Yeah.
Recommend a television show.
Let's see. What's the one that oh, there's one I was watching recently that was it has oh my god, I'm trying to remember the name. It has Daniel Radcliffe is Daniel Radcliffe is there's basically heaven. And he works in the prayer answering division. And he's the only one who works there. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name
I
of
know.
it.
I'll find it out.
But yeah,
Hopefully, someone in the chat will bring it up.
but
I
yeah,
did see Daniel Radcliffe in Weird, the Weird Al Yankovic story.
oh my god, I love what he's doing. He can do
weird stuff.
He's written his own checks, so he can do whatever he wants. I love him and Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
They are doing exactly what they want to do, and I love it. You love to see
They're
it.
doing the kid celebrity thing, and they're doing it right. They're
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing all these weird indie things. Oh, in the television show, Steve Buscemi is God. Steve
gotta
Buscemi
check this
is
out.
God, and Daniel Radcliffe is in the prayers answered division, whatever. And it's fascinating. It's a very different. I like it. It's a very different modern take on the hierarchy of divine power and so on and so forth.
Miracle workers.
What's that?
Miracle workers.
That's it.
Miracle workers. Yeah.
And
Interesting.
I love it. I love and I just started watching, and I love it because it's just the thing with the prayers being answered and stuff. He's like, all the little things affect you. Like, if it takes you 5 minutes longer to find your keys one morning, you might miss that bus and you won't meet that person. You won't, blah, 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 blah. It's all the little things that make differences in life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Recommend a book.
Oh my. Oh, last time I recommended what was it, Marcus Aurelius. What have I been reading recently? Oh boy. Okay, well, that's all I can think of now. I feel like this is cheating, but the thing that comes, because I said Ghost in the Shell, the movie. I'm a huge fan of the manga. I feel like this is such a cheap answer. Okay.
No, it counts. Definitely counts. Okay. Recommend a meal.
A meal. Soup dumplings. Xiaolong bao.
Ooh.
Oh my god. Soup dumplings. And when I was in Asia, I did literally make entire meals of this. One of these days, I love to cook, and one of these days I am going to make some honest to God soup dumplings of my own. I'm going to make the stock and make the gelatin and make the wrapper and wrap it all up with my fat little fingers. Like, pleating dumplings is hard, but if you ever get a chance to have XLB soup dumplings, they are one of the most amazing perfect little bites that you'll ever have. And
since you love film,
mm-hmm.
Takashi Miike, who did Audition and a bunch of other things, he made a movie called Dumplings, which
yeah
that's not the kinkiest movie ever, but
oh my god, yeah, the crunching sound when she god.
Okay, so let's say this. Let's end it on a very positive note, right?
Yeah.
All right. You have endless resources.
Yes.
Endless resources. Ultimate kinky fantasy. What do you do? And anybody you want, anywhere you want, anything you want happen. The laws are yours. You could do anything you want. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
The very first thing that comes to my mind is some people are going to get some literal justice meted out to them. They're going to get spirited away to my compound, and they're going to get some re-education training. I'm everybody who's like, on the other side fighting
That's funny.
against women's rights and human rights and so on and so forth. Yeah. It's my dream to like rendition some people to a compound where they're going to learn some empathy, God damn it. But yeah, I would, you know what? I really want to have do you remember the Otherworld Kingdom, the OWK?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I want to make another OWK. I want to have my own little country with its own laws and its own, my own little queen, my own little empire where it exists with the femdom world that is all that it is, and anybody who sets foot in there is subject to those rules and that lifestyle and so on. And
where would this be on this planet?
What's that?
Like on Earth, where would it be? Would it be like where would it would it be in America? Would it be in Europe? Would it be in South America, Canada?
I would say
Australia?
probably like rural, like maybe like Montana, something like that. Like, out in the rural areas. Honestly, in rural Oregon would be fine too. Just carve out my little sovereign area. Europe would be fine too, because that's where ODK was originally, or was. So yeah, something like in Poland or something would be good too.
My last name is Tanek. That's Polish.
Hey, there you
Polish
go.
for immortal.
Do you know about the prison dungeon in Poland where yeah,
you mean like a consensual dungeon?
Yeah, they have it
semi-pix.
Like it's a full on, it's a consensual prison. But you want to talk about straitjackets, Nick? Oh my God, you have to see the gear collection that they have there. They have institutional bondage out the wazoo. Mexico is cheap to buy land. There you go. That's a good idea. Yes. Yes. I'm going to, you know what? Yes. Oh, an Aegean island. Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God.
I would love that. Oh, Chris.
Yes.
Chris, yes. Let's start a kingdom. God, Ireland, says Gary.
Yes. Okay. See, we have to pool our ideas together.
That's what we do. We inspire people. That's what we do. We're muses.
Yes. Oh my God. Can you imagine? Let's do a huge fundraiser for
GoFundMe.
Yes, we'll get a fetish empire together. And it doesn't have to be just femdom either, but it has to be serious kink fetish lifestyle. Like when you come there, I want it to be like fucking Disney World for fetish. I want it to be like, oh my God, everything I've ever dreamed of. And oh my God, the possibilities. Yes, the start of a revolution. That's right. We are primed for this. I think it would be wonderful. But, Bulgaria. Yes. Okay. Everybody get their passports out.
Everyone get their passports. Yeah. It's time that I ride the equator. I just got a liver transplant. I'm ready to go. Yes. Let's start the empire. Let's do it now. Let's start the revolution. And with that being said,
yes,
Anna, it's like the Wild West out there with platforms. People are getting taken off platforms. Like, who knows? Twitter's now X. Who knows? So where are you? How can people get in touch with you? What's the best way?
Okay. My home base has always been AnnaValentina.com. And which I got to mention, I'm teaching myself how to program in WordPress right now. So it's coming along. But anyway, AnnaValentina.com. Oh, thank you. Oh, I admire you too.
No, in Christ. V2 says, I admire Miss Anna's personality so much. Such a wonderful person.
Yes, thank you.
Completely agree. Thank you. Sorry.
So so AnnaValentina.com. I'm not really using Twitter anymore because it's a shit show. But if you want to, you can look up my account on Twitter. It's Anna Valentina. My Instagram is Ms. Anna Valentina, MS Anna Valentina. Let's see. My Night Flirt is just look up Anna Valentina on Night Flirt. If you all don't know what Night Flirt is, it's a phone session platform. And you can do cam and stuff like that too. I can make customs for you. Let's see what else. Yeah, I guess those are the main ones. I'm on FetLife too. You can find me on Anna Valentina. If you're on FetLife, go ahead and friend me, whatever, But yeah, basically my website's the best way to get a hold of me. And I've never really done a lot of social media. I tend to be more private. And when you get to know me, you'll see all the stuff I'm up to.
And
But
it's
yeah,
wonderful. Definitely do your research, people.
yeah.
It's worth it.
I welcome you all to contact me. If you're in my corner of the world, you're welcome to contact me about a session, or just see what movies I'm doing or whatever the hell. I do plan to kind of put out more content eventually with strap on especially, but just my style, my general femdom style. And if anybody hasn't seen my big famous strap on movie, it's Treacherous from Severe Society. That's my 7-girl strap-on gangbang on one male bottom. That's, we were nominated for an AVN for that, and we got beat out by some vanilla gang, something like that. I'm like, what the fuck do you have to do to get an AVN for most outrageous scene? 7 girls banging the shit out of this, and the biggest. I mean, we went from small to we're talking arm length, huge dicks. 7 of them.
Just scheduling alone must be a nightmare.
Oh yeah, I know, and I know, and some of them we ranged from one girl was brand new to porn. She'd been doing porn for a year. She'd never used a strap on before. She went first, all the way up to we had Dana D'Armond and Kiki Dare and Aiden Starr, and so we went through this whole range of people, and then by the end, we did airtight with him. He's getting his mouth filled and his ass filled, and seriously monster dicks, But yeah, if you want to see what my strap-on style is where I'm just just fierce, people who are into strap-on play know, and they watch the scene over and over and over again. But it's good. That's the one where I'm that's a classic example where I'm I watch it later and I'm like, oh, I said that, oh my god.
Yeah. So how can we find this film, Treacherous?
Let's see. I think it's on I want to say XTube or is XTube still around? I used to be able to find it on tube sites. Probably go to the Severe Society website or something. Shit. Yeah, make sure that you search Treacherous Severe Society, because otherwise my shoe size is 8. Otherwise it won't really pull up relevant results or something. But thank you. It's been a pleasure to talk to you too. Oh, and if worst comes to worst, you can always go to my IMDb page, and you can find Treacherous on there and just follow some links. But yeah, I have an IMDb page.
Nice. It was weird when I have one too, and it's weird having one.
Do you?
But, yeah.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Oh, I thought of a. Wait, no, never mind. Lost it. I thought of a book that I was going to recommend, but no, I lost it. Whatever.
It's all right. Well, you'll be back for part 2, and hopefully you'll be back for our new show. I'll
Yes.
talk to you about that offline.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's going well. Anna Valentina, as always, seriously, you are an inspiration. I love talking with you. I really do. You make me feel. Even last week, I was on the phone with you. I was driving, and I had to do some things, and I was kind of worried. Just not worried, just in a blah mood. Talk with you, and it's amazing. I had a wonderful weekend, and seriously, I'm gonna have a wonderful week because I talked to you today on Sunday.
That makes me so happy, because that's what I want to bring to. Thank you, Gary.
See?
That's what I want to bring to. I told you last conversation. I want to tell everybody else this too. Is that long story short, there's this video game series called Metal Gear, and in it there's some characters, and they each bring a different emotion into battle. Oh, thank you, Chris. I really enjoyed this too. And and what I bring is joy. I think that's probably readily apparent here. I bring my joy into this. Joy is ageless and boundless and sexless and raceless and whatever. Joy is inspiring, and it's enervating, and it fills us up. And that's what I want, is to everybody just feel this joy, connect. And I hope it is inspiring. I hope it brings more joy to your existence.
It does. Anna Valentina, thank you so much. I adore you, and I'm so glad. I can't wait to have you on again.
Thank you,
That being said, everybody, can
you.
find me on Twitter, Nicholas Tanek, or X, Nicholas Tanek. Just go to yourkinkyfriends.com. You can find all the information there. I'm on Facebook, on Instagram, all that stuff. Just Your Kinky Friends, Nicholas Tanek. You have my name. And remember the cardinal rule, everybody. Be cool, be kind, keep an open mind. Have a great evening.
Mm.